But he does on this occasion. It's on the roof.
Here we are once again. The most painful part of the World Cup script for every Indian cricket fan. India's spotless record, its meticulously planned lineup, weeks of perfection and discipline in the face of unrelenting pressure. Just like we did for every tournament over the past decade or so, we finally once again given in and started to believe that this World Cup, this one right here, might finally be India's. And yet, we find ourselves staring at the face of defeat once again. Only 30 is needed off of 30. It has to be over at this point. Another missed opportunity. Another cup that should have been India's. The body language of the players is completely defeated. Some of them literally look like they're staring down the end of a barrel. And in all of this gloom, you have what has to be the most fearless man to exist. No one has any words for what goes down. The World Cup trophy was practically in South Africa's hands. And here comes Jasprit Bumrah, who fights like a cornered tiger. He goes into the lion's den and he leaves with blood on his hands. The audience has witnessed a murder. Bumrah channeled self-belief that it seemed the entire team lost, and he hit the bullseye. India erupts. It's over. The cup is coming home. Everyone's holding on to their families. Sharma is slumped on the ground. Kohli is in disbelief. Even Hardik is crying. The Martians were basically sent back to Mars, and in all of this excitement, no one bothers to wonder, how in the world is Bumrah this damn good? It's absolutely ridiculous. And it wasn't just this game. The whole tournament, batters were just trying to save their wickets against him. Forget about trying to score. And anyone who forgot this rule was sent back to the dugout. And the numbers are out of this world. His economy for the entire World Cup was only 4.17 runs. He took more wickets than the number of boundaries made off of him. These are stats that would be unheard of even in the era before cricket became a batsman's game. In the face of mounting expectations and soul-crushing pressure, Bumrah never even broke a sweat. This man just can't be human. A star like this isn't made in any academy. It takes a level of rawness and life experience to be leagues beyond everyone else. To understand Bumrah, we have to understand his story and what made the man with the once mocked bowling action into an absolute beast. But it wasn't always rosy for Bumrah. At the young age of 5, Bumrah's father had passed away. As the eldest in a single mother household, Bumrah always had a chip on his shoulder. He would practice his unconventional bowling action in the limited space of his home. And like all moms, Bumrah's mom didn't want him playing in the house. It made too much noise. But even at a young age, Bumrah was innovative. To keep the noise down, he decided to bowl perfect Yorkers against the corners where the wall met the floor. Now, unsurprisingly, one of the earliest roadblocks for Bumrah's career was the thing that makes him so unique, his bowling action. But lucky for him, his high school coach supported him and encouraged him to continue bowling with this unorthodox form. And soon enough, Bumrah became a local sensation, regularly bowling at 140 clicks and troubling batsmen with his Yorkers. But the finger pointing at his unique action didn't stop. In fact, it was the reason why he didn't make the district under-19 team. With all of this pushback so early in his career, Bumrah started reconsidering his dreams. He started flirting with the idea of leaving for Canada. But thankfully, his mother refused to let him leave. So Bumrah kept his head down and he kept performing in local tournaments. And the breakthrough eventually came when Anil Patel, the current secretary of the Gujarat Cricket Association, noticed his talent. Bumrah was added to Gujarat's white ball team and he shined, taking 7 wickets in a single innings after being benched. By the young age of 19, Bumrah caught the eye of the former New Zealand captain John Wright and was picked by the Mumbai Indians for the IPL. On his IPL debut against Bangalore, Bumrah looked like he was going to have a rough welcome to the league. He was getting smashed for consecutive boundaries. And just as quickly as people probably began to count him out in their heads, Bumrah answered back hard. He took the wicket of none other than Virat Kohli. Bumrah only ended up playing 2 matches for Mumbai Indians that season, but he made enough of an impact to get retained for the next season. The 2014 IPL season started off shaky for him as he went wicketless in his first 2 matches. But on his 3rd match of the season, he struck gold. He picked up figures of 2 for 22 and got the prized wickets of AB de Villiers. He ended up playing 11 out of 15 matches for Mumbai Indians that season with a promising economy of 7.5. And sure enough, Bumrah was picked for the India A team that year. And soon, he was on the verge of an international call-up when he heard the worst news a bowler can hear. He was hit with a knee injury. Bumrah was devastated. So close to his dream India debut, only for everything to seem over before it began. But he refused to let the story end there. He diligently followed his physio's advice, and with time, made a full recovery. But it wasn't easy from there. The very next IPL season really tested Bumrah. He was only able to play 4 matches and was smacked for runs. He went over 12 runs and over. the most expensive he's ever been. That had to hurt. He had just recovered from an almost career-ending injury right before his international debut to have the worst IPL ever. But Bumrah does not give up easy. He put all his efforts into the domestic circuit, keeping his head down once again and putting in the work, and it paid off. For Gujarat, he bowled with an insane average of 13.8 that year, and with that, he did enough to impress the selectors as he finally got his call up to the international arena. His debut series came against Australia in 2016. Bumrah picked up 2 wickets in his one-day debut and got the prized wicket of one-day sensation Steve Smith. In his T20 international debut, he dismissed David Warner and finished with impressive figures of 3 for 23. India won that T20 series, and Bumrah emerged as the highest wicket taker, making a dream debut on the international stage. This dream start ensured he was selected for the 2016 T20 World Cup in his home country of India, and Bumrah continued the momentum. He only conceded 7.65 and over and took a wicket almost every game, including the prized wicket of Chris Gayle in the semifinals. That very year, he became the highest wicket taker in a calendar year with 28 wickets. And for the next few years, Bumrah dominated tour after tour, consistently leading the wickets column in nearly every series. Bumrah's consistent dedication finally paid off, as in 2018 he ascended to the top of the one-day rankings. And the accolades don't stop there. Bumrah set the record for most wickets by an Indian bowler in their debut year of Test cricket and became the first Asian to take 5-wicket hauls in the same calendar year in Australia, England, and South Africa. And who could forget how big of a key factor he was in India's historic 2-1 series win against Australia on tour. Before anyone knew it, Bumrah had gone from a debutant to India's go-to bowler and leader of the pace attack. He made a name for himself with his lethal Yorkers, ability to swing the ball both ways, and consistent pace over 140 clicks. The dream all-format bowler. But the ghost of injuries that haunted him before came back once again. From 2018 to 2022, Bumrah was on and off the field suffering a total of 4 different injuries. The longest and most threatening one was a back injury in 2022 that caused him to miss the entire T20 World Cup and the 2023 World Cup Test Championship final. This was also a time where India went through one of its most frustrating periods of cricket. It had one of the strongest teams with the most star-studded lineups, but they failed to win a single tournament for an entire decade. India consistently made it to the semis and finals for all but one of these events, but they couldn't stop choking. Sound familiar, South Africa? And as Bumrah rose up the ranks of the bowling side, more and more scrutiny fell on him for failed performances when it mattered most. While it's unfair to pin the blame for an entire team's loss on one player, some moments were hard to overlook. He did have forgettable figures of 42 for 1 in the 2016 T20 World Cup semi-final against West Indies. In the 2017 Champions Trophy final against arch rivals Pakistan, he leaked 68 runs in 9 overs without taking a wicket. And in the 2021 Test Championship, he did go wicketless. During this time though, Bumrah was also the lead fast bowler for Mumbai Indians, and they won the IPL 4 times under Bumrah's leadership in the bowling side. And some critics unfairly began branding him as a bowler who only performs in the IPL. On top of all of this, Bumrah's back continued to get worse and he continued to miss matches. Concerns started to form that he might not return the same bowler. And the doubters were right. Bumrah did not return the same bowler. He somehow came back even better. Since the injury, he's literally been taking a wicket less than every 4 overs. In the 2023 One-Day World Cup, batsmen intentionally guarded their wickets against him. He still averaged only 18 and had the lowest economy of just 4. He bowled a ridiculous 9 maidens. India lost in the finals after they failed to post a competitive total. But Bumrah's fiery spell is the only thing that gave India hope that match. After that World Cup, surely he couldn't have done better. I mean, how do you follow that up? But Bumrah did. He had the best economy in T20 World Cup history, a ridiculous 4.17. He took more wickets than boundaries that were made off of him, and had a single-digit average of 8.26 runs. Not only did he grab the player of the tournament, but when India was done and dusted, with South Africa needing just 30 off of 30, he proved all the haters wrong, and on the biggest of occasions, he stole victory from the jaws of defeat. And with that, he earned the ultimate accolade, the clutchest to do it. It goes without saying that Bumrah is the undisputed best bowler of today, and we have no doubts that he will end his career as the greatest bowler of all time.